So I will use EMCOR because obviously it's the most relevant at the moment, and I'll talk about our approach to some of our wellbeing initiatives. And one particular area was about introducing a flexible benefits program, I think. We've been talking about this for some time. I've put together a couple of business cases, and it hadn't really progressed too far. And it was probably because we were too rigid in terms of that approach to flexible benefits. What we wanted to introduce was a platform, I guess, for individuals to go in and set benefits that they would want. Many organisations have these. We were not unique in that sense. But what we were trying to do was, and we came up with this strapline, I suppose. It was the have and have-nots. So it was those employees that didn't have much in the way of benefits, who may have been lower down the pay grades. How could we affect them? And it goes back into that wider piece I mentioned around a better world at work. Although that wasn't what we were looking to do at the time, it was all linked into how could we effectively, maybe reduce some attrition, maybe reduce some sickness absence. How could we affect that through giving our employees something to look into and look forward to? But we had the challenge of at least half of our workforce didn't have email, at least half of our workforce weren't connected through mobile phones. So again, what could we do to introduce something to them that would make it a benefit? And it took a long time to get it off the ground. And I remember our CFO questioning it. What was the value to it? What would we get back? And we weren't able to necessarily convince that it was the right approach. And we realised probably halfway into this that what we hadn't done is factored in some other areas that could really make a difference. So we'd honed in on just on the benefits, and that was the bit that was probably wrong, and where we actually sought to make a significant change. As we flipped it on its head, we moved it away from being a flexible benefits platform where you could just go in and select benefits. And we flipped on its head to it became a wellbeing platform where you could introduce benefits to there as well, which would affect not only the wellbeing but also then the family side of things as well, and all the other bits that we wanted to do. Is that flipping it on its head to being a wellbeing approach and using our experience of what our employees were particularly after, as opposed to what we thought they should be after, made the real difference. So our business case became a lot stronger in terms of offering a flexible benefits platform. It became a wellbeing platform and an engagement tool, and it brought in that lived experience for our employees, which is something we've already talked about today. We were able to turn that engagement platform, a flexible benefits platform, into a communications tool as well. So we have 85% of our staff now signed up on that, and they use their own personal email, they use their own personal mobile phones to access it. So you've got a vehicle for communicating with your employees. And what was a benefit to us in terms of there, which we had no idea would be a benefit, was during COVID, it became our vehicle for communicating with our staff, giving them updates around what we were doing in terms of dealing with the pandemic and how that would affect them. So we had CEO briefings, we had video clips, we had information that was passed down to them. But that wasn't what the tool was originally set up for. And our learning around that, I suppose, and I'll just give you some quick stats on there. I mean, we've got 85% now signed up on there. That's a sizable amount of our employee base, and we're able to communicate with them so much better now. We saw the communication tool as being in part of that. But I think from the learning piece there, we hadn't set out on that journey. We probably hadn't thought it through enough. So we just saw it as a flexible benefits platform. Let's give something back to our employees, without really probably asking them what they wanted. And we changed that as part of the overall structure to when we started to release that. So what benefits did they want? What could we introduce in terms of wellbeing into those initiatives? Where could we partner with others? And it was our eagerness to get something off the ground, which probably took us down a route where the delay was significant in terms of doing that. We wanted it to effectively be approved by our board really quickly. They didn't. They took more time to consider it, which then delayed the process of getting things out there. And once we'd actually factored in different areas outside of just HR, wellbeing, D&I, the social and economic impacts of what a flexible benefits platform would become in terms of the communication, in terms of the wellbeing. We've got things, and just to give you an idea, we don't just have gyms on there and bike to work schemes anymore. We have things in there around, people can buy health checkups, greatly reduced costs. We're introducing an area at the moment where we're looking at the healthy eating in terms of what does healthy eating really mean? Where would they find intolerances? And we're looking at do simple tests at reduced rates, for our employees around intolerance. We've introduced buying a holiday scheme. So you buy holiday days, but you don't sell it back to us because we insist on people taking their holidays. And all of that has come as a result of this wellbeing platform. And I suppose that the advice that I would have to to leaders is to, anybody looking to pick up on something as simple as a platform or change to technology, is to really consider what the wider impacts of that will be, because that will help really frame what you're looking to do. So for us, it was just around added benefits to employees initially. It wasn't probably really as well thought out as we would like it to be, because we hadn't considered how could we communicate better? How could we engage more? What would the experience be? We picked that up as we were going along. And now I think we've got an absolutely fantastic offering. Now our flexible benefits platform, as I said, is a wellbeing platform where staff who don't have access to IT or phones, through their own phones and through perhaps their own email at home or other advice devices. And we've had to provide training on that. So as part of our L&D, we do provide support to how people would log in, etc. But they can access their payslips now online. They can have access information around booking holidays. They can access information around what's going on in the business. What's the CEO saying through the video clips, etc. So we've been on quite a journey around that. And as I say, introducing a flexible benefits platform, budgeting, etc., is quite difficult anyway. But to then make it something that has become an all singing, all dancing engagement tool, which has had significant changes to how we engage with our staff. And we've seen that through the results of our staff survey. So our staff survey results are the highest they've ever been, the most engaged employees we've ever had. Our staff turnover is significantly reduced. We've added some benefits that make it really stickable for employees, such as our salary finance program, which I mentioned earlier, which is around paying off their debt through the payroll system, so they don't leave us. They're kind of tied into that, which is great. And all of that's come out through a very generic initially. What can we do for our staff that don't have much in the way of benefits? And it's a significant change. We're delighted with it in terms of the actual technology. It's simple to use. The process of it is well thought out. But it was a tough ask at the start. It took a lot of effort to get it over the line. And that's purely because we focused on one stream. We hadn't considered the wider implications of what a tool like that would do for us. So my advice to any other leaders who's thinking about anything to do with people-related activities is not just to consider what your first thought process was, which is how we can make something better here or change something there, is to consider the wider aspect of what it would do in the future for you, whether that's an L&D program, whether that's some sort of coaching initiative, whether it's working through your ED&I and the social changes that ED&I brings into the workplace. It was a tough ask at the start. It's an incredibly positive thing now. And it's something that we've actually won awards for. We won a couple of awards for our platform. So we're incredibly pleased with what we've got.